Mr. Hegde, my first question to you. By the purview of what has been precedent, there have been cases where the court has allowed 26-week pregnancies also to be terminated. In this particular case, how do you see that the court deemed and rejected the plea?
See, the question is whether an exception could be made. The law is that you can have an abortion up to 24 weeks. There are 3 trimesters in a pregnancy. The first 2 trimesters are absolute rights of the woman. As far as the 3rd trimester is concerned, there is one more interest to be taken. Fetuses are viable even outside the womb. So you have a living person. We have had even premature babies. I have had one in my family where childbirth has occurred at 26, 27 weeks and the child has grown up. Now, the point is you have a fetal heartbeat. This is not a case of rape. This is not a case where the fetus has abnormalities. So without those exceptional circumstances, it is very difficult for a court to say that irrespective of what, there is an absolute right in the mother not to bear a child with a living heartbeat. The judges were being called upon to stop the heartbeat of a living child. That, I think they have said no.
But Mr. Hegde, and I want to bring in our other guests also into the conversation. The fact is this woman, admittedly adamant, because she was asked a couple of times whether she wanted to reconsider. She was very clear that she will not because she's mentally sick. She suffers from not just postpartum, she suffers from clinical depression. She's attempted to take her life in the past. Doesn't all of this make for exceptional circumstance?
See, there are exceptions provided in the law. Now, there are ranges of clinical depression. Postpartum depression is a phenomenon which is sort of time-bound, or it happens immediately after childbirth. In this case, the judges would have reviewed the medical evidence and said that it still doesn't fall to that level where the woman's life is in immediate danger.
The sheer fact, because the lawyer has said repeatedly that, she's attempted to take her own life, not once, twice. But having said that, I want to just bring in our other guests into this conversation. Trisha Shetty, founder, she says human rights advocacy activist with us as well. Trisha Shetty, would you think that if this woman was not married, she was single, or possibly a victim of sexual abuse, possibly the outcome of this case would have been different?
We have seen that happen, right? We have seen exceptions been made before the amendment to the Act of 2021. There were exceptions made that allowed for termination of pregnancy post the 20-week period, acknowledging the risk of grave injury to the mental health of the pregnant women by carrying the pregnancy to term. We've seen this in multiple cases, as well as in 2021, a minor who was allowed to terminate her pregnancy during the 26th week, taking into consideration her socioeconomic condition as well as the impact. I think in this case, I refer back to what Justice Nagaratna said when she allowed for the termination of pregnancy in this specific case, where she specifically highlighted that a fetus has no separate identity from mother, that a woman cannot be forced to undergo pregnancy at the risk of physical and mental trauma, and that right to reproductive health is sacrosanct, which means a woman has human rights to also include right to abortion. I think in this case, unfortunately, we have obeyed the letter of the law whilst ignoring the spirit of it. We've not taken into consideration the sort of postpartum psychosis the woman is going through here, that she was not aware that she could even be pregnant whilst she was nursing her second child. The fact that we live in a country where women do not have guaranteed access to sexual and reproductive health care rights. I'm glad that at least in this case, the courts have directed the state to bear all medical costs. But in essence, you are forcing a woman and her partner to carry to term a pregnancy that the woman is saying she's not psychologically fit to. And how can we see that as anything else but not having compassion towards the woman who's being forced to subject her body to do this? And it's not like she doesn't know what being pregnant is. It's not like she doesn't know what being a mother is. She knows very well and is therefore asking for compassion. And I think we have failed her here.
Deepa Ishwar, we spoke on Friday when this case was, it had the Supreme Court in a dilemma of sorts. But the court has ruled in something that you were in the favor of, which is pro-life. But having said that, in some way now, this woman who was very adamant that she did not want the child, who said she was suffering mentally, will now practically be forced to birth a child she doesn't want.
Yeah, so like my respected co-panelist Trisha was saying, we should be showing compassion towards the woman. I have my compassion for her. My heart goes out to her. But I'm sorry to say that my heart goes out more for that little heart beating inside her womb, because she's already a mother. A life has taken birth inside her. And this baby is at 26 weeks. And this is a sensitive topic for me because, like I said on Friday, I would like to say that I am in my 37th week of pregnancy, moving into my 38th week.
Congratulations, Deepa.
The baby is able to feel things, the baby is able to hear things, the baby is able to respond to the mother. And there are a lot of things, instead of talking about for the lack of another word, instead of talking about killing the fetus or killing that little one inside, we should be talking about supporting this woman, giving her all the necessary support in terms of counseling, medical support, in terms of, are we sure we've exhausted all those means? We would have tried them, but are we sure we've given enough to that woman? Now, secondly, if she carries this baby full term and she gives birth to the baby, there are options, I believe. I'm not an expert legally, but I believe there are options to give up the baby for adoption. The baby has a whole world to take his or her life ahead. Why are we, talking about killing that life when we can actually support this woman and try to bring this life to the world and give it a good living condition? Maybe not by this family, but some other family who will be able to do that. So why are we talking? I think as a country, as a nation, we are probably thinking very negative on this. We should be thinking on a positive lines. We can have compassion towards a woman. I'm a woman. I've gone through postpartum depression, my first pregnancy.